All right, guys, so today we're going to be working on 1.9. This is a chapter that is about dividing with decimals, so dividing both numbers with decimals. So we are going to start with on your own, which is right here. This is number 5. Okay, so number 5, it first wants us to estimate, then find the quotient. So I'm going to do this on another sheet of paper. So all right, our step 1 starts by estimating. So 75 divided by 12, I can do that by saying number 5. Sorry, I'm just going to make sure I write this. It would be 75 divided by 12.5. So I can estimate this by saying, I like to think of this as like 12. So 75 divided by 12, this will be my estimate. 75 divided by 12 equals, well, my closest that I can get to it would be 72, because 6 times 12 equals 72. So my estimate would be 6. This is just my estimate right here. Okay, so now I'm going to get into making my dividend, or making my divisor, which is 12.5. Hopefully you can see that. What else? Making sure my divisor does not have a decimal point. So this is my step 1. And whatever I do in my divisor, I have to do to my dividend. My divisor is 12.5. I'm trying to get this to focus for you guys. 12.5. There we go. So 12.5. So to get this decimal place to move over 1, I need to multiply it by 10. So 12.5 times 10 equals 125. That gets rid of my decimal point and just moves it over a slight bit. So then I go ahead and I do the same thing to my dividend, which is 75. So I say 75 times 10 equals 750. So there we go. So now this is 125 divided into 750. Okay? So since this is a bigger number, I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator and say, what is 125 divided by 750? Oh, sorry. That is 750 divided by 125. And my answer that I get is 6. So this is my quotient. Now we can go ahead and move on to number 6. I understand that this might be a little bit more challenging, so I'm going to walk you through a few more problems than I usually do. For number 6. Number 6 is 544.6 divided by 1.75. So if I think about this number as 2, really I'm going to make this 1.75 a little bit bigger, so I'm going to make it into a 2. This is just for my estimate. I'm going to say 500 and so I'm going to go ahead and make this 544.6 into 550 divided by this 1.75. I'm going to make it into a 2, so I'm going to round it up into a 2. 550 divided by 2 equals 275. This is my estimate for my quotient. Okay, so now I need to make my decimal points go away in my divisor. So my divisor is 1.75. So to move my the decimal point over 1, 2, I need to multiply it by 100 because 100 has 2 zeros, so I know that this will move it over 2 points. So I'm going to do 1.75 times by 100. I don't always have to do this whole work out again, but for our purposes today, I'll do it out for you. But if you can tell right away that you need to move 2 decimal points over, you automatically know you multiply both numbers by 100. So equals 175, and then I do the same. Whatever I do to my dividend or divisor, I do to my dividend. My dividend is right here. So I do 544.6 times by 100. Okay, so now I need to move, this decimal place will move over 2, which means I will add a 0 to the end. So 54460 will be my answer to that. So now we go ahead and set up the division problem, which would be 175 divided into 54,460. So I look at this. I want this to make sure. There we go. Perfect. So I look at this and I see 175 cannot go into 5. 175 cannot go into 54. 175 can go into 544, and I need to figure out how many times. So to get a start to that, I like to say, what is 544 divided by 175? All right. So I get a 3 with a bunch of decimal points after, so it is not a complete number. So I try, what is 175 times 3? And it equals 525. All right, minus. So 4 minus 5 you cannot do. Go ahead and borrow. This becomes a 3. This becomes a 5. This becomes a 14. 14 minus 5 equals 9. 3 minus 2 equals 1. 5 minus 5 equals 0. So you don't even need to write that 0. Now you bring down the 6. All right, so how many times can 175 go into 196? It can only go in 1 time. So I wrote a 1 up here. And 175 down here. Minus 6 minus 5 equals 1. 9 minus 7 equals 2. 1 minus 1 equals 0. How many times can... so now we bring down this 0 again. So this becomes 210. How many times can 175 go into 210? Only 1 time. So I say 175 minus. So this is 210 minus 175. This becomes a 0. This becomes a 10. 10 minus 5 equals 5. 0 minus 7 you can't do. You need to borrow. So this becomes a 10. 10 minus 7 equals 3. 1 minus 1 equals 0. So this becomes 311 with the remainder of 35. So it's remainder 35, which would be 311. Since there is still a decimal point, so this would be a point because it's a remainder 35. All right, I'm going to go through number 7 with you, and then for 8 and 9, I'd like you to do it on your own. So for number 7, we are asked to estimate and then find the quotient. So first we're going to estimate. So, all right, I'm going to keep this to 2. Actually, let's make this, I'm going to start over. So number 7. Just so we can all be on the same page. Number 7. So it is stated like this. 2.7 divided into 22.41. All right, so to estimate first, where am I? My camera's down a little bit too low. To estimate first, this 0.7 tells us to round up. So this is going to become a 3. I'm actually going to round down. So this will be 3 divided by 21. 21 divided by 3 equals. So that is my estimate, which would be 21 divided by 3 equals 7. So 7 is my estimate, which means there will be a decimal after the number closest to 7. All right. Here we go. So we're going to we need to move over our decimal point so that we do not have a decimal point in our divisor. So 2.7 times equals blank. So on the Edpuzzle, I would like you to figure out what we need to multiply this by, whether it is 10 or 100 to move my decimal place over 1. So if you guess that we had to move this over and multiply it by 10, because there's 1 0 in 10, which means we move this decimal point over 1 time, you are correct. So 2.7 times 10 equals 27. Now I need to do the same for 22.41. So 22.41 times 10 equals, because what we do here, we have to do the same thing down here. So this just means my decimal point moves over 1, so it equals 224.1. It's okay that we still have a decimal point in our dividend because we've already practiced how to do that. So it becomes, I'm going to rewrite the division problem once again, which becomes 27. 224.1. All right, so 27 cannot go into 2. 27 cannot go into 22. So we need to do, what is 224 divided by 27? So I'm going to do that in my calculator. 224 divided by 7 equals 220. Oh, I was wrong. Sorry. No, I was right. So 200. Am I totally wrong? Yep, so it would be 27. So this would go in 27. Which would be 224 divided by 27, which equals 224 divided by 27 equals, okay, so then I'd have to say, what is 8 times 24? 8 times 27. So I figured out that 8 times 27 equals 216. So 27 can go into 224 8 times. That equals 216. So now I need to complete this subtraction problem, which would be, can't do this, so this becomes 1, this becomes 14. 14 minus 6 equals 8. 1 minus 1 equals 0. 2 minus 2 equals 0. All right, so it's 8. I bring down the 1. How many times can 27 go into 81? I'm going to figure that one out. So 27 times 2 equals 54. So now I'm going to give it another chance. 27 times 3 equals 81. So it goes in perfectly. So 3 goes up there. 81 goes here. 0, 0. Perfect. So we stated by our estimate that we knew that it would come after a number that was close to 7, which would be 8.3. So 8.3 is our quotient. To check our answers, I would like you to multiply. So you're going to multiply your divisor by your quotient. So 27 times 8.3. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on my calculator. 27 times 8.3, which equals 224.1. So that is perfect. We got the exact answer. All right, I would like you to try 8 on your own. I will go ahead and do the work, but I'd like you to try it first, and then you can follow along. And then you are going to do number 9 on your own. For number 8, you should have answered on the Edpuzzle. It does not have us estimate, but I think estimating is a good way to find where the decimal point should go. So this would be, all right, so let's try this. Sorry, I'm yawning, guys. So our real problem is 2.64 divided by 0.2. Awesome. So I'd like you to estimate on your own, and then you are going to go ahead and put that into the Edpuzzle because that should help you. All right. So now we need to move our decimal point over to get that. So there's 0 decimal points in our divisor. So 0.2 times blank equals blank. I need to move it over 1, so I multiply it by 10. So this becomes a 2. 2.64 times 10, because whatever you do to one, you got to do to the other, equals, and I just move it over, 26.4. Perfect. So now it is 2 divided by 26.4. All right, so 2 can go into 2 one time. 2 minus 2 equals 0. Bring down my 6. 2 can go into 6 3 times. 3. Trying to get this to focus for you guys. 6 minus 6 equals 0. Now I bring my 4 down. Now I go ahead and bring my 4 down. Since my decimal point is here, I will bring it right up. You see how I brought that straight up because it's the only decimal point I have. All right, this becomes 4. 4 divided by 2 equals 2. 4. So you have no remainder. So if you got the answer 13.2, you are correct. That is your quotient. So now I'm going to have you do number 9 on your own. Number 9 is this one right here. And then I would like to move on to number 12, which involves algebra. Okay, so now we get into number 12, which involves algebra, which this is number 12 with my very unfocused camera. So this is 36.4 plus 9.2 minus 4.9 divided by 7. This is going to be trickier than a lot of the ones we've done before. We are using PEMDAS. All right. First, P stands for parentheses, so we need to do whatever is in these parentheses first. So, PEMDAS, now we have 2 different types of equations in here. We need to follow PEMDAS. Again, we already found the parentheses. E stands for exponents. We do not have any exponents. M stands for multiply. We do not have any multiplication problems in here. And D stands for divide. So we do have a division problem in here that we need to solve first. Our division problem is 4.9 divided by 7. Okay, so this is 4.9 divided by 7. We need to make sure Okay, so we would set this up by saying 7 divided by 4.9. 7 cannot go into 4. Can 7 go into 49? Sorry, my decimal point would not be there because we'd need to make sure we moved it out. Can 7 go into 49? Yes, let's see how many times it can go into 49. So let's say 49 divided by 7 equals 7. So since we are dividing a smaller number by a bigger number, this would be 0.7. That would be our answer, 0.7. Just double check, 49 divided by 7 equals 7. So this would be 0.7. Now we go and we can rewrite. Since we have so many steps in this problem, I want you to rewrite your algebraic expression. So, or your order of operations. So this would be 36.4 in parentheses 9.2 minus our new quotient, which we got here, so minus 0.7. So now we do our subtraction, so 9.2 minus 0.7. Doing exactly what's in our parentheses. So 2 minus 7 you can't do. This becomes an 8. This becomes 12. 12 minus 7 equals 5. And this becomes 8.5. So now we're going to write our expression again, which becomes 36.4 plus 8.5. I like to write this vertically so you can follow along. So 36.4 plus 8.5. 4 plus 5 equals 9. 6 plus 8 equals 12. No, not 12. 14. Make sure you bring down that decimal point. 1 goes up here. This becomes 44.9. So this is the answer to your order of operations question. So now I'd like you to go ahead and do number 13 on your own.